What's going on YouTube? It's Vinny here, and today we're going to be talking about some of these wild trades that have been happening before free agency even started and what's been going on today. Today I'm recording this on June 30th, the first day of NBA free agency, and we've already seen some crazy trades. We're going to be talking about Ja Morant, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis, and then I will mention the LaMelo Ball trade as well as. So the first trade I wanted to talk about today is the Kawhi Leonard trade. It's the freshest trade. It literally just happened before I clicked record, less than 30 minutes ago. Kawhi Leonard has already played on the Toronto Raptors. This is his second stint. He originally got traded in 2019 from the Spurs for DeMar DeRozan. This time the Raptors are getting him from the Clippers. This time the Clippers are getting Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, 2 first-round picks, 1 pick swap, and 2 second-round picks. Kawhi Leonard's contract, he has one season left on his contract, but he's scheduled at $50.3 million. That is a large amount of a team's salary cap for sure. And then the trade also makes him eligible to sign up to 2 years for $123.7 million extension with his new team, the Raptors, which he said he is already willing to sign this new extension with the Raptors. He's already said this. And then, like I said, he's already had the history with the Raptors when he got traded in 2019. He went over and he immediately won the championship. He took them straight to the championship and took down the Dynastic Warriors, not ending the dynasty, but ending the KD era of the dynasty at least. And Kawhi Leonard's coming off his best season of his career, honestly, and he was second team All NBA. So he had a great year last year. He averaged 28 points, 6.5 rebounds, and about 3.5 assists. Last year, he played in like over 65 games, I believe. I think he played like 70, almost 70 games this year, which is really good because Kawhi Leonard's been known to be injury prone the last couple seasons. So him being there and available in a contract year, in a year where he probably knows he was going to move on from the Clippers after, it's good that he came out and produced, especially because if we remember before this season, he had the big aspiration scandal. Honestly, I think with the Raptors' new lineup, they'll have Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, Kawhi Leonard, Scotty Barnes, and Jakob Pertl. I think that's their 5 probably going into next year. I think they need a better center, and I think they need a guard. I think they need a better guard. They had Kyle Lowry when he was there, and they had Pascal Siakam. Those were the kind of 3 main players. Scotty Barnes kind of plays that Pascal Siakam-esque role. So I think if they just get a guard and another decent center, I think they have a really good chance in the East to compete, maybe get to that second or third round. I don't know if he pulls off a miracle championship again because Kawhi Leonard he turned 35 years old yesterday, I'm pretty sure, on June 29th. He turned 35, so he's in his age 35 going on 36. He's not 29 years old like he was then. So I don't know, but he is coming off his best season. I hope he does well for the Raptors. I've always really liked Kawhi Leonard as a player. I hope he does good. And yeah, I think the Raptors are going to be a top 4 to 6 team in the East next year for sure with Kawhi Leonard back in Toronto. I'm excited. Drake's excited. Shout out to the 6. And for the second trade I wanted to talk about today, we got to talk about the Ja Morant trade. Ja Morant has played on the Memphis Grizzlies since 2018, 2019, I think, where he was drafted 2nd overall out of Murray State, came out of nowhere, had an excellent NCAA tournament and ended up getting picked 2nd by Memphis. For Ja's trade, he gets traded to Portland as a 2-time All-Star with low trade value because he's had multiple incidents with the guns on Instagram Live, the gun celebration. He's a fake demon. He got traded. He had low trade value. Portland takes him in. And then Memphis receives Jeremy Grant, and Chris Murray. Chris Murray was a late first round pick a couple years ago, and Jeremy Grant has a super massive contract for his role. So Memphis takes on Jeremy Grant's huge contract, and then they also take Chris Murray probably for salary cap reasons to match it out with Ja, because Ja has a massive contract too, because when he got paid his contract extension, he was the MVP candidate in 2022, 2023 when he was getting that big money. And he's also been injury prone the last couple seasons, so that's been the issue with Ja Morant. Um, that's mainly why his trade value is also low, is because he's been injured the last couple seasons. Like I said, he was rookie of the year. He was all-star 22 and 2023, and he's had multiple suspensions and injuries. He's last year though, he had solid stats. He had about 20 points and 8 assists in his 20 games. But his team fell apart around him. They traded Desmond Bane, they traded Jaren Jackson, they traded Dylan Brooks. And they kind of rebuilt their roster around young players. They've kind of just been looking to get rid of Ja Morant probably for a while now, but his trade value got so low that they all they could take was Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray for him, which is interesting because he's a two-time All-Star, rookie of the year. When he's on the floor, he's good. He's great. He's great. He's great athletic point guard. No question about that. But his current contract, basically, he's on the fourth year of a 5-year, $197 million extension. And he becomes a free agent 27-28. So not this season, but after the next season. So we're going into 26-27 after. So he has 2 more seasons, basically, going into this contract. He has this upcoming season and the next season. And then he becomes a free agent. But the issue with this trade is for Portland, they have to make another trade. Now they have like 6 guards on their roster. They have Damian Lillard, they have Ja Morant, they have Scoot Henderson, they have Shaedon Sharpe, they have Drew Holiday. They have to make some more trades. I think Portland's going to make another trade. I don't think they're in the running for a Jaylen Brown or anything like that. But as for Portland, I think if he gets on the floor with Damian Lillard and he plays well and he's energized and he's in a fresh environment, I think Ja Morant and Damian Lillard could do some serious damage in the West, believe it or not. But they have to make another trade. I think they should trade some of their guards. I would try to trade Drew Holiday or Shaedon Sharpe, or a mix of Drew Holiday and Scoot Henderson. I would try to either get a forward to pair next to Denny Abdia, or I would try to get another solidified big guy. Klingon is great. He can get 14, 13 rebounds a game for you, but I think for Portland's long-term success with the Ja Morant trade, I think they need to make another trade to get some of those guards cleared out so it's not so cluttered, and get another forward, probably defensive forward. Don't know who that would be exactly, but Portland has to make another trade. They have a lot of point guards on their team now. I think they can do some damage if they go with another trade on top of this Ja Morant one. For Portland, I think they'll honestly be from 7 to 10 seed. The West is just so good right now. They're not jumping the ladder significantly, I feel like, with this Ja trade, but I do think they win more games and they do a little bit better than they did last year. Other than that, that's it for the Ja trade. The next trade I want to talk about is the Giannis trade. Miami Heat finally went out and got a free agent. They finally decided to put their foot down and send the herd to get the cattle. They traded Tyler Hero, Kel'el Ware, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Kasparas Yakinchonis, the 2026 number 13th overall pick, who ended up being Nate Ament, who they drafted, unprotected first round picks in 2031 and 2033, a pick swap in 2030, a 2033 second round pick. So they traded a total of 5 picks and 4 players. So that ends up to being a 9-to-2 player ratio if they use all those picks. Giannis got traded for a total possible of 9 players, and the Miami Heat also took Bobby Portis with Giannis, so they did get another decent forward to put to the bench. He'll be on the bench. Giannis and Bam, I believe, will be the power forward center combo. I think this trade is massive because the East, like I said, it's not as strong as the West. The West is cutthroat. The East, you have a little bit more room to breathe, I feel like, from game to game, rather versus the West, you're in a chokehold for one spot for 6 games straight with 3 different teams. Like, it gets like that in the West. But the East, I feel like there's a little bit more leeway, and I feel like they win more games with Giannis because I think Giannis is going to show up to Miami. He's going to like the city. He's going to like the environment. He's going to like the culture. He's going to like the work. He's going to like the Miami organization, the lifestyle, the city. I think he's going to be re-energized. I think he's going to be confident. I think he's going to have a really great year. He's not done yet. Giannis probably has another 3 or 4 great years left. I do believe that. And I think he could win another MVP in Miami. I've been saying this since he got traded a couple of days ago. When he got traded, I immediately was like, man, this guy could go win another MVP. I think he's going to really, really feel rejuvenated and replenished. Being in a new city, being in a new environment. I think the Heat do great this year. I really do. I think they'll be a top 4 team in the East. I think they're in the running to sign LeBron James. The Giannis trade is really good for both sides in a way because I think Miami in the East, they become good. They're one of the higher 4 or 5 teams. I think they'll be either a 4th or 5th seed. They'll if they don't get a LeBron or any other free agents and they just roll with Norman Powell, Giannis, and Bam, I think they'll easily slide into a 4th or 5th seed. If they get another all-star or better player than Powell as their second or third option, I think they could do even better than that. But if they just roll the ball out with the lineup they got right now with Giannis, I think they're a top 4 or 5 seed team easy in the East. This is good for Milwaukee because they get some youth. They got 3 young players. Well, Tyler Hero's been in the league for a little while now, but he's going into his 7th season. He's starting to enter his prime, and this is his hometown. Not hometown, but home state. He's from the state of Wisconsin, so Milwaukee is good for him. I think he'll also be rejuvenated. I know it's not Miami. He probably liked being in Miami. I'm sure Khalil Ware and Jaime Jaquez and Kasparas, Yakinchonis also did. But anyways, they all are young players, so I think they can grow together as a core. That's a core. Like Khalil Ware, he's like 21, I think, 22 maybe. He's going to be a good center. He's going to be a solid 17 and 12 in a couple of years, I think. Tyler Hero, I think he'll be he'll probably get like 2 or 3 all-star nods in the East with Milwaukee because I think he's going to be enjoyed by playing in Wisconsin, hometown, close to home. So I think that's why it's good that Milwaukee picked Tyler Hero out of the bunch. So I think they'll grow into that roster. They're obviously rebuilding. They took Braden Burries 10, and then they took Nate Ament 13 in the draft. So they're rebuilding, but they have a good young core of players they just brought in, and they have more picks in the upcoming years. So I think they did good for what they asked for, especially considering the fact that we were trading Giannis. And fun fact about this trade, this is the second time a 2-time or multiple-time MVP has been traded since 1982. It has been over 44 years since a multiple-time MVP has been traded in the NBA. That is crazy. And that last person, by the way, was Moses Malone when he went from the Houston Rockets to the Philadelphia 76ers. Anyways, like I said, Giannis, Miami Heat, good. Milwaukee Bucks, all right. Has some potential. I think the Heat are going to be great next year. Moving on, back over to the Western Conference for this last trade I want to talk about today. The last trade I want to mention about is the LaMelo Ball trade. Now, Charlotte, best year with LaMelo Ball they've had. Won a play-in game. This was their best year. After All-Star break, they clicked. They went like on a 22-5 game run. Like in 27 games, they went like 22-5 or 20-1 at one point. Like they were tearing it up after All-Star break. Young core, Concanapple, Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, and then Miles Bridges. He's in about his prime years. Musa Diabate, young centers. So they had a whole young roster, and they're kind of blowing up the LaMelo Ball saga, drafting LaMelo Ball back in 2020 with the 3rd overall pick. He scared some teams away, aka Minnesota, who he just got traded to originally because he told them that he wanted to be the president of the United States. I don't know why he did that, but the trade details are LaMelo Ball goes to the Timberwolves, and they also get Josh Green. And for the Charlotte Hornets, they're getting Naz Reid. Naz Reid is a legend online. If you haven't seen the Naz Reid memes, people will literally just get Naz Reid tattooed on them, which is awesome. Charlotte also gets a 2033 first-round pick, 3 first-round pick swaps, 28, 29, and 30, and then 3 second-round picks, 29, 32, 33. So they ended up getting 6 picks and Naz Reid for LaMelo Ball and Josh Green, which ends up to being about potentially 7 players if they use all those picks. So LaMelo got traded for quite a bit too. On his contract, he has 3 years left of 5 years. $203 to $204 million contract, roughly in that range. He signed it with Charlotte. And last season he was pretty good. He had about 20 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 72 games, which is good because he has been hurt in the last couple seasons. So it was good this year that he played majority of his games. Only shot about 37% from 3, but he was 2nd in the NBA in 3-pointers made, right behind his teammate Concanapple. So he joins former classmate Anthony Edwards, number 1 pick in their class, 2020. Edwards number 1, Ball number 3. So now we have the 2 best players in the 2020 draft on the same team. Post-game interviews are going to go triple platinum. They are definitely going to be interesting. Before this trade, the Timberwolves got rid of Julius Randle, and because they clearly thought he wasn't the second option best next to Anthony Edwards, so they went and got him a point guard. Now, I think LaMelo makes this team exciting. He's going to be throwing this guy alley-oops. Minnesota, at their best, could be a top 3 team in the West this year. And like I said, only top 3, and they would have to be 3 because San Antonio's coming back for vengeance, and OKC's coming back for vengeance too because they lost to San Antonio. So I think those 2 teams are coming back. They're going to be pretty nasty. They're going to be beating on people in the West all year long. So, I mean, at their best, I think Minnesota goes top 3, 3rd best team in the West, but I think they need another forward. They need another forward. After getting Julius Randle out of there, they have Jaden McDaniels, but they need another 3 or 4, depending on what they want to play McDaniels at, because he could honestly play 3 or 4. He's big enough to play both positions, but I think he's better at 3, Jaden McDaniels. So I'm just thinking about the scale of their team and the format. You'll probably have like LaMelo, Anthony Edwards, Ayo Dosunmu, Jaden McDaniels, and then Rudy Gobert, of course. So that could be their potential 5. That's not a bad 5 if they go with that, but I think they need another forward. I don't know how I feel about Ayo Dosunmu playing small forward. They also moved on from Naz Reid. That's their bench big guy, which he won 6th Man of the Year for Minnesota a couple years ago. I think they should have kept him, but obviously they probably had no choice, knowing they were giving up LaMelo Ball. But honestly, my thoughts on this one, Minnesota could be a top 3 team at best, and they would be 3rd if anything. Worst, I think they fall to an 8 seed and a play-in, and because either LaMelo gets hurt or just the team falls apart, other possible things. 3 at best, 8 at worst. I don't think they miss the playoffs at all, though. I think they will still make their playoffs like they regularly do. Minnesota's been to the Western Conference Finals a couple times the last couple years, so they're knocking on the door, and hopefully LaMelo is the answer, because that would be nice for him. See, Ant get to the finals. They're both 24 years old, so they both are young players still, not even in their primes yet. If they stay together long term, they will be a problem in the West for multiple years to come.